Field Harris was born in Versailles, Kentucky in 1985. When he passed on in 1967 at the age of 72, he was back home in Versailles and had made his mark in the world. Harris graduated from the Naval Academy and was commissioned as a second lieutenant in the Marine Corps in March 1917. With the onset of World War I, he was stationed aboard the battleship USS Nevada, and then later he was assigned to the Marine Unit at Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. After the war, his assignments included sea duty on board the USS Wyoming, tours ashore in the Philippines, and Washington, D.C. It was in Washington, while working with the Office of the Judge Advocate, that Harris earned a law degree from George Washington University. Next, it was on to flight training in Pensacola, Florida, where in 1929 he received his Gold Naval Aviator wings. Harris was first assigned to the West Coast Expeditionary Force at Naval Air Station San Diego, then on the Langley Field, Virginia, where he attended the U.S. Army Corps Tactical School. He next served as Executive Officer of Marine Observation Squadron VO-9M in Haiti, and in 1932 became Commander of Scouting Squadron VS-15M on board the USS Lexington, one of the first of two Marine squadrons to operate from an aircraft carrier. In 1935, he joined the aviation section at Marine Headquarters, followed by a year at the Naval War College in Newport, Rhode Island. In August 1941, he was sent to Egypt, from where, as Assistant Naval Attaché, he would study the Royal Air Force's support of Britain's 8th Army in its desert operations against Rommel's Afrika Korps. After Egypt's and the United States' entry into the war, he was sent to the South Pacific. His air units provided critical air-ground support that thwarted the Japanese efforts throughout the Solomon Islands and helped neutralize the major sea and air base at Rabaul, New Britain Island. During the war, Harris's responsibilities and rank increased. In May 1944, he was appointed Director of Marine Aviation in the Office of the Chief of Naval Operations, a position he held until February 1948. In May 1945, Harris, in an address to the Wings Club in Washington, D.C., stated his philosophy that, "We are not an Air Force. We are part of an air, ground, sea team. I believe we will be a necessary part of our nation's air, ground, sea team." Through his training and experience, Field Harris was instrumental in the development of marine aviation with this philosophy as his goal, a philosophy that continues to be the mission of marine aviation to this day. In 1948, he was given command of aircraft Fleet Marine Atlantic. A year later, he moved to El Toro, California for command of aircraft Fleet Marine Pacific with command of the 1st Marine Aircraft Wing. With the onset of the Korean War, Marine units under his command provided close air support at the Pusan Perimeter and the Incheon landings. Marine helicopters under his command pioneered their use in combat situations, and aircraft transports provided critical supply missions and medical evacuations for the chosen reservoir retreat. While Field was a dedicated soldier, he was also a husband and father. He was married to Catherine Chin Harris, and they had 2 children, William and Nancy. During the Korean War, Harris would suffer a deep personal loss. His son, Lieutenant Colonel William F. Harris, who was also a Marine with the 1st Division, was the commanding officer of the 3rd Battalion of the 7th Marines at the Chosin Reservoir. The younger Harris Battalion was the rear guard for the breakout from Udami. William was first reported to be missing in action. It was later determined that he had been killed in battle. In 1953, after 36 years of service, Harris would retire with the rank of Lieutenant General. He purchased a home in Versailles, Kentucky, the home where his granddaughter Katie still lives today. Among the many medals that Harris received were 4 Legion of Merit, the Navy Distinguished Service Medal, the Army Distinguished Service Medal, a Bronze Star, an Air Medal, and the Commander of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire. In retirement, he continued to serve his community. He would work in Frankfort for 10 years as a librarian of the Kentucky Law Library, as well as other jobs in his hometown of Versailles. Field Harris died in 1967 at the age of 72. He is buried next to his son in the cemetery at Pisgah Presbyterian Church in Versailles. A historical marker about his life is near his grave. It is therefore fitting that Field Harris, in recognition of his accomplishments and service, be enshrined in the official Aviation Hall of Fame of the Commonwealth of Kentucky.